Racing. What is it? In sports, racing is a competition of speed in which competitors try to complete a given task in the shortest amount of time. Typically, this involves traversing some distance, but it can be other tasks involving speed to reach a specific goal or destination. Welcome back, Bleak Riders, to another ride. Today, we're going to be going back with our Wayback Machines into the annals of history and talking about a famed MotoGP racer long forgotten. As many of you know, I recently purchased my first Harley-Davidson, but they've been on my radar for some time. As a fan of motorcycle racing, I did some deep diving into its history and some of the other manufacturers' histories. I usually don't give a manufacturer credit as being an actual race company unless they compete in certain competitions. Most notably, the MotoGP circuit, the World Championships, Isle of Man TT, or the Dakar Desert Race. But this video isn't about how I categorize motorcycle manufacturers. It's about the life and times of a great man. A man by the name of Walter Villa. Born August 13th, 1943, and died June 18th of 2002. Walter was an Italian, a four-time Grand Prix motorcycle road racing world champion. He was known for his quiet, unassuming nature on and off the bike. When on the bike, though, he also became a ruthless competitor. Once the race began, there was no stopping him. Walter was born in Castelnuovo Rangone, near the Modena, which is in the heart of Italy, and what they call Motorsport Valley. As a youngster, he worked as a mechanic, following in the footsteps of his beloved older brother Francesco, who was also a professional rider. It can be said there are riders who scream their names into the world. And then there are those like Walter, the ones who let the hum of the engine and the blur of the pavement do the talking. Walter was a man of quiet intensity, a rider who earned his nickname the Reverend, not because he preached, but because of his calm, almost priestly demeanor, and it masked a spirit forged in the fires of fierce competition. Walter wasn't born into the glamorous world of MotoGP. He came from a modest Italian town, as I mentioned before, near Modena, the beating heart of Italy's Motorsport Valley. It's the kind of place where speed isn't just appreciated, it's worshipped. Villa, like many boys in that region, grew up with a wrench in his hand and a desire to ride fast. He followed in the footsteps of his older brother Francesco, another talented rider, learning the intricacies of mechanics before setting out to carve his own path on the track. They called him the Reverend. Not because he wore his heart on his sleeve or because of his tranquil, almost meditative approach to life. Walter was the kind of guy who could walk into a paddock full of heated arguments and cool things down, and do it with just a few measured words. He was a peacemaker, a meditator, a master of compromise. But get him on a bike, and that calm exterior gave way to something much more dangerous, an insatiable hunger to win. Villa began his career humbly in the early 1960s, racing on local circuits with bikes like the Marini 175, His early successes across various classes in Italy laid the groundwork for a move to the world stage. And in 1973, he did just that. He was ready to show the world what he is made of, though tragedy struck that year when he was involved in a horrific accident that claimed the lives of fellow riders Renzo Pasolini and Gennaro Serenian. Walter took time to recover both physically and mentally, but he came back with a fire that couldn't be extinguished. In 1974, Walter signed with Harley-Davidson, an odd pairing, some might say, for a man who seemed more at home on nimble Italian machines than that of the counterpart, the muscular American bike. These weren't the typical Harleys you'd see cruising down the highway. These were finely tuned race machines, built in partnership with Aermacchi, an Italian company with deep roots in the racing world. That year, Walter clinched his first 250cc World Championship on a Harley-Davidson, followed by another in 1975, along with the Italian national title in 1976. Walter was at the pinnacle of his career, sweeping both the 250 and 350 World Championship. His style was methodical, almost mechanical in its precision. He had an uncanny ability to remain calm under pressure, exploiting every mistake made by his rivals, turning their errors into his victories. But as in the case with so many legends, the road wasn't always smooth. By 1977, technical problems and accidents began to mar his races, and still, Walter pressed on, racing into the 80s, though by then, his time at the top had passed. The 1980 season marked his last appearance in the World Championships, and by 81, the curtains had fallen on his illustrious career. Walter's contribution to the world of motorcycles, it didn't end with his racing days. In 85, he began a long collaboration with Pirelli, testing and developing tires that would revolutionize the motorcycle industry. His work with Pirelli's 0-degree steel-belted tires became one of the company's biggest success stories. And in 1994, he set 6 world speed records at the Nardo circuit, proving that even in his later years, he still had a heart of a racer. Walter's story isn't just one of victories and championships. It's a testament to the relentless pursuit of excellence. Walter was a man who brought peace to the garage and chaos to the track. A rider who, despite the odds, forged a legacy that deserves to be remembered. In June of 2002, a heart attack took him in his sleep. He died at the age of 58. But each year, his friends and family gather for the Walter Villa Memorial, a track day in Modena where they remember the Reverend and his sermon of speed. Here's to Walter, a man who was like a quiet storm. He left his mark on the racing world, a mark that still resonates with those who dare to remember. I know Harley has come under fire lately, for good reason. But it's not about a brand. What we feel, this connection to these bikes, to our history as riders, transcends all things. It's something so much more. It's a connection to our people. Every rider to come before us and every rider that will come after us. And I like to take time to remember some of those riders, including this great man, Walter Villa. If you liked this video, please hit that like button. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. If you ding the bell, you'll stay up to date on all things Bleak Rides. I'm always making motorcycle content. That's what I do here. And when possible, I get involved with charities and try to help others. I want to say thank you. And remember, just ride.